Welcome on in, my Ashwings, to another installment of the Silver Age A to Z series. Today we're taking a look at the hero that started it all for Ashen Wings TCG, Dromai. Dromai is a Draconic Illusionist, and her whole kit effectively is creating these dragons of legend onto the board by paying their cost to invoke them and then flipping them into their dragon side here, their ally side, and then each of them having their own different effect to kind of manipulate the game state in a way that that benefits you and kind of gets you around your opponent's weird defenses, or sometimes even just prevents good offensive opportunities. So with Dromai here, very, very simple concept here. Effectively, anytime you pitch a red card, you will create an Ash token. These Ash tokens here are then put underneath any of the dragons that you create or invoke. So if you ever transform an Ash into an Ashwing, that Ashwing then has this Ash underneath it. So these Ashwings have Phantasm. Phantasm is a keyword pretty specific to Illusionist, which just says if it is blocked by an attack action that's non-illusionist and has 6 or more power, it will kill the dragon, effectively destroy the dragon, and then it will close the combat chain. So if your dragon had go again, it would then close the combat chain before the dragon could resolve the go again in the resolution step. So it's what we call a popper. And, if you're going against a guardian or a brute, they're going to have a lot of these. But if you're going against a ninja, they may only have a little. So it's all dependent on your matchup that you're going into. But taking a look at Dromai, kind of get an idea about what the hero does. We are running the Blade Beckoner head or chest piece and the boots. We are running these strictly because you want to have a little bit of a defensive option on you for when your opponent is attacking. Even if it's just a couple points of damage to help block out some breakpoints, that's pretty good. All of your invoke cards block for 3. So if you need to block out a breakpoint like a snatch or something that's going to hit you with a burn up or something, you can always make that happen. Of course, our headpiece here is Glory Seeker. If you know, you know. Glory Seeker is a super great way for you to get Ash. Again, whenever you are pitching a red card, you will make an Ash because of Dromai. So this is a good turn 0 tech. If you win the die roll, you go first. You immediately pitch into this with the 3 reds you have in your hand, because you're going to have 3 reds. Most of the deck is reds. You pitch into this with 3 reds, and then you go ahead and you draw a card. You make a dragon, preferably, or find some way to send that 1 card out of your hand and then go about setting up for the rest of the game. You want to make Ash, and you want to make sure that your Ash economy is very good throughout the course of the game, because if you draw into a hand of all dragons and you do not have any Ash, you can't summon the dragons. Even if they cost 1 and you pitch into them to then play it, there needs to be a Ash out on board in order for them to be to play the card. You want to make sure at all times, unless you know you are going to kill your opponent, that you have Ash. Then our arm piece here is Silken Form. This allows us to quell, and also at instant speed we can destroy it to transform a target Ashwing, so transform an Ash into an Ashwing. So if for any reason we do see that we utilize the quell ability on our turn, maybe to prevent some damage on our opponent's turn, at the end of that turn, just make sure to destroy Silken Form to turn one of those Ash into an Ashwing, unless you are trying to make an Ash to get dragons out of your hand. And then Storm of Sandakai allows us to have our dragons attack for free. The other part, of course, of Dromai's ability is that if you play a red card, all of your dragon allies get go again, so when they attack. So it is pretty important to kind of always be sending these points of damage. You'll see later in the gameplay too. But the main deck here, we are running the Billowing Mirage Red and Billowing Mirage Yellow. There are some builds out there that are running Billowing Mirage Blue. Do I think that's correct? Not personally, but if it gets results, it gets results. I mean, Billowing Mirage Blue is not bad, but you definitely don't want to muddle with the amount of reds that you have in your deck, because the reds allow these dragons to get go again. For example, if the only thing you can do on your turn is, you have 3 other dragons out on the board. You attack with Billowing Mirage Red, you make an Ashwing, and then you can attack with all of your dragons, right? But if you keep a Billowing Mirage Yellow, you play the Billowing Mirage yellow, and then you attack with a dragon. That dragon doesn't get go again. So it is important to weave this in a proper way, but you just need to make sure that like the first thing you do on your turn is try to play a red card that hopefully has go again or something, or even if it's like an instant. The next card we're going to take a look at is Blaze Headlong, just a great 0 for 4 with go again once we've played a red card. Dunebreaker Centipede, this is it's got Phantasm on it, so if you, even some of our attack actions do have Phantasm, but if it gets destroyed by the Phantasm ability, then you will create an Ash token. So there is a benefit in case it does get popped. And if your opponent doesn't have Ash, this is a really great rate of a card to send at your opponent. Dust Up is a great chain ender here. 0 for 4, blocks 3. And then if it hits, you make an Ash token, and then you can transform up to 1 Ash you control into an Ashwing. So this is a pretty important on-hit because it establishes a board for you and also can get you that Ash if you need it for another dragon that you might have. Evermaw Centipede, it's a really big Phantasm attack, but it costs 2. And 2 is good because if you ever need Ash, you can just pitch 2 into this to send it. But it's also coming in for 8 damage. So it's really above rate for what it's worth. The only downfall, of course, is that it has Phantasm. We also have For the Dromai. For the Dromai is a just a good chain ender. No go again on this one here, but it does block for 3, comes in for 4. So if you're trying to threaten breakpoints, it's not bad, but it doesn't really care about the fealty token stuff. We then have our dragons. Invoke Asvali whenever they are summoned to cost 0. And then whenever it attacks, you can have him deal 1 arcane damage to up to 2 targets. So you can target one of your other dragons, you can target yourself, you can target your opponent, you can target an opponent's ally. It's a very interesting card to use in the mirror. This is my favorite dragon. This dragon is so good, has won me so many games, and it's really just kind of like a lot of your opponents don't even know you're on arcane damage. So when you do bring this in, sometimes they don't have that AB, and so they just kind of lose to Asvali in the late game. You then, of course, have Dromai. Dromai is another 0 cost dragon. They have attack for 3 and have 2 health. And then once per turn, whenever Dromai attacks or leaves the arena, you gain 1 action point. So whenever you attack, you can go ahead and if it gets popped and leaves the arena, you get the action point still. If it attacks and is successful in its attack, you get the action point. So this prevents you from having your further dragons that you attack with. If they get blocked by a popper, they do not, you don't lose your turn effectively. You get to keep an action point in the back end there and continue swinging your dragons. We also have Invoke Kyloria. Invoke Kyloria is really awesome because Kyloria comes in for a breakpoint of 4, and if your opponent controls an item, you get to steal it. If they don't control an item, you draw a card. So most heroes are not on an item-esque kind of build, so Kyloria comes in and just says, okay, cool, snatch. That's all it does. We also have Invoke Mirror Guy. Mirror Guy's ability says your first dragon attack each turn loses and can't gain Phantasm, so this again helps you on your turn to allow you to attack with a dragon without worry that it's going to be destroyed by your opponent's popper, and then maybe attacking with the rest of your dragons before ending your turn. We also have Invoke Uvia. Uvia is really awesome. It does cost 2 resources to play Uvia, and it's definitely our most expensive, well, it's one of our most expensive dragons in the deck. But Invoke Uvia allows us to, at the start of your turn or when Uvia enters the arena, you transform to 1 Ash you control into an Aether Ashwing. So you'll see you just kind of got these cute little babies sitting around. Uvia is really, really big into making Ashwings, and you saw the attack power is really low, but Uvia has 6 life, which means that your opponents, if they're like ninjas, might have to throw 2 or so attacks into Uvia in order for them to kill Uvia. But Guardians will have to just be able to send 1 really big attack. This isn't an attack that most weapons can kill, so they're going to have to usually use a card that they would have sent at you to instead send at Uvia. Otherwise, Uvia is going to just continue to make these Ashwings so long as you have Ash, and that's kind of how you overpower your opponent with these cards. You then, of course, have another dragon here in the main board, which is Invoke Yendurai. Invoke Yendurai is a 1 cost, comes in, it's just a 3 power, 3 health, but does come in with an endurance counter. That just means that the first time that this is dealt damage, you prevent 3 of that damage. So kind of think of Yendrai like having a pseudo 6 life. We do also have Lava Burst, great chain ender. If you're able to go ahead and get 4 chain links wide, Lava Burst is a great way to just kind of finish off a turn. Comes in for 0 for 5, it blocks for 3. So not bad. It's performed fairly well, but I think there might be other things that could probably be put in there for it. We do have 1 copy of Rake Over the Coals. This was originally a copy of Tooth of the Dragon, but I opted to put in Rake Over the Coals in the case that we want to try sending more damage over the course of all of our Ashwings, because if our opponents can't pop the Ashwings and we have like 4 on board, sending a Rake Over the Coals is going to come in for an additional like 10 damage or so. So it's really, really powerful. We do also have Ravenous Rabble. Most of our deck is red, so we're always going to get 4 pretty much unless we get unlucky. We have Sand Cover, a great tech into any Dominate decks or into Wizards. It's a main board card also because it is a instant that is red. So if you need something to start your turn, the good thing is that your target ash you control gains ward 4 until the end of turn. So you effectively can play this to start your turn, and you won't lose the ash that gets turned into this ward 4 unless your opponent tries to, like, you know, shoot a spell at you or something on your turn. But the good news is it's just another starter, and it's really, really great way to block out those pesky arcane damage spells. Most of the time, your life is probably going to be less than your opponent's unless they are strictly focusing on killing your dragons. Scar for Scar is just a great way for you to go ahead and make sure that you have a red starter to kind of send a whole bunch of damage at your opponent and play like a ninja, effectively. We do also have Skittering Sands. This is just transform an ash into an Ashwing and then give it +3 till the end of turn. Another starter. We love to see it. We have Snatch, another chain ender. If we get to draw a card and put something in Arsenal, that's awesome for us. So we always want to try threatening this as much as we can here. And then, of course, finally, we have Sweeping Blow. It costs 1, so usually you're pitching a red to play this. You're going to get an ash for that. And then when you attack with Sweeping Blow, you also create an ash. So you go ash positive, and you're sending 3 damage with Go again. So another starter for your turn. We then move into the sideboard here. In the sideboard, we do have a popper of our own, Cadaverous Contraband. This is a non-illusionist 6-power attack. So if you are going into the mirror match, Cadaverous Contraband is not a bad card to have. The other good thing, too, is that Cadaverous Contraband has an on-hit. So if you are playing into something that has allies, you can kill those allies with this and get the on-hit. Or if you hit your opponent with it, you get the same thing. What this just says is put one of your dragons in your graveyard back on your deck. I think it's on the top of your deck. Yeah, from your graveyard on the top of your deck. So it was great tech when I was playing it in CC. I still like it here in Sage. Very good stuff. We do have a dragon that we often will switch out with Uvia or Lava Burst, depending on our matchup. And Themai is really, really good. Themai just says your opponent cannot play cards on your turn, which means that if your opponent is really big into defense reactions, or maybe they're Icelander or Kano, and their whole thing is like trying to play spells on your opponent's turn, Themai is incredibly powerful because Themai just says, stop doing that stuff. So also with 4 life, it's a little bit harder to kill than most other things, and it comes in for 3, but that's fine. It's got a good life total and also stops our opponent from trying to kill us on our turn. That gives us more room to work with whenever we're, summoning dragons and sending them in our opponent's face. We're also on a copy of Oasis Respite. Again, we pitch 1 into it, so we make an ash, and we get to prevent 4 more into Wizards and Dominate stuff there too. Passing Mirage is an awesome card. This says your first illusionist attack each turn loses and can't gain Phantasm. This is an aura that sticks around the board, and if your opponent wants to clear it, they need to give up their action in order to do so, which saves you some time to allow you to kind of crack back at your opponent. But if they decide to ignore it, you then get to go ahead and attack with any of your dragons, or even cards like Embermoth Centipi or Dunebreaker Centipi. without having to worry that your opponent is going to just block it with one card and then end your turn. So Passing Mirage is pretty good. Mage Master Boots, this one hasn't really come up too much in regards to its effects. There might not be room for it in here yet, but I do think that there is a world in which playing Mage Master Boots, the big thing is like if you're trying to close out a game, you Mage Master Boots into Passing Mirage. Passing Mirage will then get Go Again, and then you attack with something like Ember Moss Senpai or a Doombreaker Senpai to try and push more damage across your opponent to have them give you 2 cards instead of 1, which does help a lot when you're trying to swing tempo in your favor. And then finally, Silent Stilettos. This is pretty much just Phantasmal Footsteps, but more expensive. It does also have Arcane Barrier on it, which is pretty cool too. So if you are going into a Runeblade or a Wizard, even though your Ashwings do have Arcane Barrier, it is important to still make sure that you're playing this because you want to be able to have that Arcane Barrier on hand should you not have any Arcane Barrier at all. But Silent Stiletto is very good. It also, of course, you can pay 3 resources to get your action point back should anything be popped. But the odds of that happening are pretty low because you don't have a lot of blues, so it's a different kind of game. But anyway, that's Dromai. Let's go ahead and show you what my favorite deck in Flesh and Blood does in the Sage format. Before we move into gameplay, I wanted to give a shout out to my channel members for the support they provide. Each channel member is provided with their own role in our Discord server, as well as access to the Common Language Podcast livestream every Tuesday morning at 9 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. With 3 tiers of membership, copper, silver, and gold, you can choose to support my channel in any way you wish at a reasonable price point. Supporting this channel by being a channel member helps keep the lights on, keeps your favorite content creator fed, and of course, allows for me to offer more to you all as a thank you for your continued support. There is a link in the description of this video to become a channel member, and if you choose to support the channel this way, just know that it does truly mean the world to me that you are willing to do that. Don't feel pressured though. Even just subscribing and interacting with my content helps. So thank you again to our channel members for your support, and back to the video. All right, looks like we're going up against a chain here. Let's give them the good old good luck, have fun. We probably could play Silent Stilettos in this one here, just to kind of get us going. That way we can, in case they're on like a arcane package, it's kind of a toss-up on if they're playing one or the other. I would say that maybe Passing Mirage isn't really necessary here. We could probably... You know, maybe we should bring this instead. I actually think it might be better. I think we could probably even just play Oasis Respite, but I think I'm actually just going to stick with this and send it and see how it is. I think it's a fine thing to do. So, as you'll see, this hand is just like very, very weird. So I can do one of a couple things. I can play an Ember Moss Senpai, pitch 2, get 2 Ash, and then send 8. Or I can threaten Glory Seeker, put a Scarfer Scar in my arsenal, and maybe even make a dragon off the top of my deck. So I'm going to do that. We're just going to send this here. Make 3 Ash. And we got a Snatch, so that's actually kind of funny. We could... I mean... I think we probably just Arsenal. Because we can let them filter, but... I might even leave the Snatch, actually. No, we're going to leave the Scar for a Scar. Let's just send the Snatch. Send the Snatch. They can filter some cards out of their hand, but they'll have to give us like 2 cards. See what we get. Unhallowed Rite and Phantom Rite. So they are on a... Runegate build. So I'm expecting quite a bit of damage to come back my way. Not a bad hand. We got a Sand Cover to block out one of these. If we keep 2 reds, we can play Uvia, which is going to help us a lot. The downfall in this match is that knowing that they are on a Runegate package, we are going to be susceptible to poppers. So it is going to kind of suck. But we'll see how this works. Because if they give up their poppers, it's like not great for them. If they do give up their... If they don't give up their poppers, then we just get a bunch of damage to be sent through. So... Chain ability, they're going to probably pitch a blue into you know, Phantom Wraith and then into Nebula Blade, maybe? Okay, Nebula Blade for 4. I do kind of want to just block this out specifically. I think I am going to sand cover here. And then we'll have them just send whatever the hell else they are at me, because I have a Scar for a Scar in here, so... Okay, Vexing Malice? Sure. Okay. And now, in theory, I could I can create an Ash here, play a thing, and then keep Uvia, but I think I'm actually just going to establish an Uvia first, just because I want to make sure I'm just like churning out Ashwings. So they're probably going to give us nothing here, if I were to guess. We now have an Ashwing. Sigil of Suffering. Okay, that's fine. I'll give you an Ashwing. Okay. I'll give you this here too. Yep. Nothing from them. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and just put this to the floor here. They've got the one here. I don't know if they're going to have another coming up. They got a Phantom Wraith, so they should be able to send this at us if they pop a Runehold release, or if they have like a Read the Runes with Go Again with Chain's ability. With them being on a like more popper heavy build, I think it might even benefit us just to like not block or not swing anything over the course of stuff. I think it might just be better that we play to our outs here. We do have Arcane Barrier now, so we can just do that. I'm curious if this is going to come into Uvia or if this is going to come into me. I am the target. So 6 is coming at me. I can AB 2, and then I can block 4 here on the armor. See, a part of me wants to just keep 2 cards, so I'm going to say no to the chance. And I'm going to just block... I think I'll just block 6 here. So Nebula Blade. Nothing to the arcane damage. Nothing to the arcane damage. I'll just block 4. Give you my whole suite there. Okay. I will transform an Ash. I will pitch this. I'll swing 3 damage at my opponent. I'll make another Ashwing. And now we have 3 Ashwings, which is going to really threaten a lot more. Of course, again, if our opponent has a popper, they're in a good spot. And they could probably afford to give up a card, right? That's another. Send another. They're probably just going to give you this one here too. It's made quite a few Ashwings, so I think it's fine. We've now tied up the life totals. And if we just get to keep a red card in our hand, we're in a good spot. We have a Rav Rabble. They got nothing off of their Soul Shackles, so good for us. They can ebb and fold to get a card into their Banish Zone. They don't have any rune chance, so pretty good for us. They are going to ebb and fold. Ghostly Visit is what's coming in. I could also rake over the coals. Like, that would be kind of funny, but I'm almost tempted to also give them this, because they're going to get, what is this? 2 rune chance off the back here for when they swing that. So it's really the rune chants that are the problem for me right now, is that that's what's coming in. I'd almost much rather prevent the damage coming in from something else. I think I will give... If I take 4, go down to 7, I then have to deal with 4 into this unless they send 6. I think maybe we just block... You know what? Maybe we just don't block anything. Because our hand's going to be pretty gross, I think. Because what are they going to send? 6? Spellblade Assault. They're going to make 2 chants. They're going to probably pay into Suckcliffs here. If I were to guess. So I probably should give a card. Let's give 4. Yeah. Yep. That tracks. Oh, now you don't have a resource. Oh, I guess you can Bloodthorn Bodice. You can Bodice a Soul Shackle, get a resource. Yep. Two, 4, 6, 8, 10. So 4. So if we didn't block here, it'd be kind of rougher, but that's fine. I think we're in an okay spot. If we had one more Ash, that would have been really good for us. I don't actually know that we win this. Let's just block 3. They'll get a rune chant. And then we will simply create an Ashwing. We'll then swing said Ashwing for 1. We'll see if they give up a card for Phantasm. 2, 4, 6. 8. 10. Yeah, if I had one more Ash, I'd be able to threaten at least a card from their hand. But I will more than likely die to Rune Chance here now. So we did get a yellow, so yellows can pitch pretty well into that. I'd probably pitch a little bit more here. We have to see. They got a Soul Reaping in there. They can't play it. They did get a Deathly Whale. They will have Chance. Another Malefic. They've had a Malefic Incantation every turn. It's so good for them. They don't have a Bloodthorn Bodice for this Arcane Cussing now, though. So the real question here is... Oh. What? Oh. That's crazy. What? I'm surprised they wouldn't just play that and then pitch this into Nebula Blade to send that. That would have been far better. They would have at least sent in 4 and a Rune Chant. I think this hand was much better than they expected. So, okay, so just for the sake of learning here, effectively what could have happened here is they could have kept the Arcane Cussing and they could have kept one of these Malefics in their hand. They had one chant. That specifically would have been play Chain, play Read the Runes, play a Runehold release, to then go again. You make 4 rune chants off of that. You have 2 cards in hand, a red and a red. You pay both of those into Nebula Blade. Nebula Blade comes in for 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rune chants. of which I would need to pay 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rune chance to live, and then could not block out 4. That was my line. What happened in this scenario, though, is that the opponent did not see that line, and they definitely would have got me. Again, they don't know what's in my hand, right? Like, it could be blues. I could have a blue in here to block out a lot of it, but this turn for sure was at least, when I'm at 2 and you're threatening this kind of damage, it's a lot. So we did win, but technically we shouldn't have. We were just an ash off of winning last turn. I think that's really what it would have been too, is like, if I had had one more ash on the board, I could have made another ash wing with Silken Form and then sent that at our opponent, which is really, really good. But overall, not too bad. Not the end of the world. We did win the game. And as you can see, it kind of just like incremental value. You see that this Uvia made a whole bunch of other things. I didn't get to play really any other dragons. So, you know what? We'll do another one. Let's do another one. For sakes of it being Dromai, my favorite hero, let's do another one. All right, so we're going against the new. I actually think this is pretty cursed for new, but I will do my darndest. I am going to go first. So they're probably on some weird stuff here. I'll probably go ahead and get rid of the Skittering Sands. And, well, that's a starter. I'd probably get rid of the Snatch. I don't really need that. They block well enough. Yeah, we'll do that. Just because, like, the odd chance that we actually need to do something is pretty good. So this hand is interesting because we get to still, well, I mean, what are we doing, right? We're still pitching 3 into this. And now what we can do is we can just Billowing Mirage. Or we can actually just do this. And then send 4. And we'll see if our opponent has poppers. They're probably not on poppers, if I were to guess. Yeah, so they're just blocking 4. They're giving me armor early, too, which is very interesting. And now I just get to keep an arsenal. So it was either establish an Ashwing and send 2 damage, or establish an Ashwing and send 4. And so I opted to send 4 there, because assassins don't really have a whole lot of poppers. Okay, they're sending Beckoning Mistblade. That's fine. Now, the reason this is such a cursed matchup for new is because I don't really have blues in my deck. And so they don't get to utilize their hero ability a whole lot. And also, it's just like whatever damage. 3. I think we'll just go ahead. They could have the Hiss in hand. But overall, I don't really care because I'm going to probably Billowing Mirage, Dust Up. The Hiss, Razor's Edge. Okay, so it's not going to get go again. They did get a red. So they are going to gain a life. Okay. Not bad. We're going to go ahead and do this into this. So the thing is that they get an on-hit with the Beckoning Mistblade, which is really good for them. Because every time they kill an Ashwing, they're going to get the on-hit to be able to give their next blue attack go again and +1. So making Ashwings in this is not like the most valuable, but it is threatening something here. I might even want to do... No, send 4 still. They'll just block it with their armor again. Yep. Cool, we got a Desires of Flesh out of their hand, so... Okay, Beckoning Mistblade at the Ashwing. That's fine. That will die. I kind of want to keep my hand here just because I can Kyloria into this, into Chromai. And they're not really going to have poppers. Again, I don't really care about this damage because they're not going to have poppers. Sure. Oh, did you have a reaction? Yeah, yes. So significantly more damage. And the Slither to go again. That's fine. It's kind of like an odd race here, effectively. Okay. So they're ending their turn anyway, I guess. They must have a chi in their hand. Okay. So we'll go ahead and we'll do this, pitching this, because we need the ash. Okay, that's, and then we do this. I very well could have sand covered probably some of that, but chose not to. I guess we'll see what our life's looking like here after this. So we're going to send 7. And they're not going to be able to kill these with a fucking dagger. So send that. We'll send this. They're going to let me draw? Okay. I guess I do this now so I can put the sand cover in Arsenal. Although I shouldn't make a dragon. Yeah, I mean, I'll make a dragon, whatever. Not the end of the world. We have prevention abilities. Okay. And now we have an ash available to us for the sand cover. I don't like having 2 sand covers. That's not good. Okay, they're going to target the Dromai. So they get the on hit, sure, but Dromai doesn't die. Are they going to send another dagger at Dromai? One at Kyloria. Oh, I see. To kill Kyloria and go again. And then send another dagger at... What are you doing with the usability? Uh-huh. Get a double trouble out of there. Okay. They're going to be real upset when I just make all these dragons again. Death touch. Oh, wow. That's a spicy boy. Okay. Well, that's unfortunate for us because we kind of want to keep Ash. We could also just pitch one of these. Let's just pitch the sand cover to Quell. I think that's probably fine. Let's block this. Play this. I will pay 1 to Quell. I'll Quell this card. All right, cool. So they had to give pretty much everything to kill 2 of my dragons. I'm going to play Invoke Miragai. So they do have poppers. Also, something to keep in mind is that Death Touch is, in fact, a popper. Now, do we go Ash negative? I don't know that we should, but we have to try and kill them, so can't complain a whole lot there. Okay, they gave up. So effectively, that's kind of the concept. Is this wasn't bad for them. I mean, what, 3 into 2, 5, 6? So their hands could have been, they could play a blue Bonds. They could swing a Beckoning Mistblade into an Aether Ashwing, play a blue Bonds to kill Dromai with Go Again, and then play Desires of Flesh, and then pitch this to swing Hiss for 6 to kill Mirgai, theoretically. Like, you could have done that. But that's kind of this is showcasing kind of the benefit of having these cards on board. Because we have not yet played like an ally deck on the Silver Age A to Z series, I wanted to just make this very clear. The longer these cards stay out on board, the more value they have, right? When you consider something like a Head Jab, which is a 0 for 3 with Go Again in most cases, that is a very base rate. These are a 0 for whatever the hell they are, and also if they do not go, if they're not killed, I just get to do that again on my next turn for no cost whatsoever. So ally decks are definitely very, very contentious when it comes to Flesh and Blood, but I do think that Dromai does a lot of it really well. She has to make sure she has this Ash in order for her to make the dragons for first off, and then you also have to keep them alive. There's multiple different varieties, but in Silver Age, she gets to use all of her really good dragons, so it's kind of a big benefit there. But anyway, that's enough for me today, and I'm sure you've seen enough Dromai gameplay, but thank you all so much for watching. I do really appreciate your support. If you did enjoy today's episode, please make sure to go ahead and like the video, subscribe to the channel as well, and go ahead and leave a comment down below letting me know how you feel about Dromai in the Silver Age meta. And then, of course, if you want to become a channel member to help out the channel a whole lot, I certainly appreciate it. There's a link down in the description for you to join should you wish to support, but no pressure. Just happy to have you here. But thank you all so much for watching, and thank you for sharing this time and playing Dromai with me. And I hope you all continue to have fun in the Flesh and Blood. And I will see all of you beautiful Ashwings in our next installment of the Silver Age A to Z series.